What up, it's your boy Marco from Upside Down Studios. It is motherfucking Monday. We are joined from the deep, dark tundras of the streets of Canada. And we ain't forgot you and you in them streets. He in the streets on Victoria Day.
I mean, hey, it's an important one. It's an important day, and my wife is lording it over me. Totally fine.
Before we start anything here, Dino and I was toying with the idea of changing the name of the show to TSA Appreciation Day.
NSA. The NSA Appreciation.
NSA, whatever NA. Just could we get a fucking show? I mean, because it's already, we know. Somebody got back on the job. Doge got into somewhere and they made it, now they're watching again. Look, man, it's just a fucking show. Nobody's watching this anyways. Chill the fuck out. Jesus Christ.
I see, this is my thing is, when you try and make something better, so you take away the fat stuff, the stuff that's unnecessary, that's not needed. I think Doge was doing that, and then they unplugged something important and it went backwards. And they're like, no, put that one back. That's too much cutting of the fat. You're hitting muscle. Don't do that. That's yeah. Well,
it's
we had look. Well, do you remember Google from 2012, bro? If I could get half a sentence out, it would be what I was looking for immediately. Okay. Now I have to go to page 3 to find something that's not a promotion or some sort of propaganda.
Yeah, they always got that little sponsored thing up in the corner.
Every time.
Yeah. Also, before we get to any recapping of news, I'd like to say to the lady in the gray SUV, you are a piece of shit. The one who clipped the other lady in the front of the car, went up in somebody's yard up on Gypsy Lane, and then just kept going. The lady who was in the black car, she got out. She looked like she was a nurse or something. She was in scrubs. She had her fucking name tag on. That poor girl was probably headed to work. So, so whoever's in that gray SUV, I hope your kids are fucking have dyslexia. Just saying. I hope they end up on the fucking spectrum and they're one of the dark colors.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why don't you just say, I want you to be homeless? That's fine.
No, because then they're a burden on the community.
I want you to have just enough money so you can't get help. That's what I want. Yeah. I want you to know that you're on your own. So
I don't know if you got this news up there, but apparently a ship. Now, when I first saw this thing, I thought it was fake. I thought it was overseas or whatever. Because they came across some of the more unsavory Facebook pages, I guess you would call
sources.
That comes through my feed just so I can get shits and giggles. But there was plenty of video. There was, people are talking and stuff. They actually had it live going as this fucking boat smacks into the Brooklyn Bridge,
bro. So. A couple of people sent that to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then they're like, "No, it crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge," and you're like, "What the hell are you on?"
I saw another person's video, crystal clear. You could see the people on the fucking thing dangling off. Like one dude looking like he got hung. The other dude literally fell off the fucking mast, smacked the boat.
Dude. Number one, okay. The cost of one of those, so this was a sailboat that also had power. It was, I would say, 60 meters long. It was a big sailboat. Okay,
dude, that wasn't. I mean, it was a sailboat, but it was one of the Mexican Navy boats. When I saw it, I thought it. Yeah, because that's
why is it in Brooklyn?
Why is the Mexican Navy boat? That's exactly what I pulled up when my internet shut down.
There we go. See, you were all like, someone's attacking me. No, you were looking into shit that nobody wants revealed. That's fine.
But dude, if you see the video, if you see the original, this thing was lit up. I thought it was a party boat. You know how they have the party boats?
Exactly what I thought.
I don't know if you've seen them in Cleveland. They go out maybe a mile or two in the lake area, turn around, you have dinner, okay, a few drinks. Yeah, I thought it was one of those because it was lit up like that. You know,
That's
they have
what we have, yeah.
flags all over.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was maybe a protest type deal or whatever. You know, or maybe Trump was giving a fancy way of picking them up and deporting them. All this stuff, like this thing bang, and like you can hear the people talking who are videoing it. Like this isn't a joke. They're crashing. They're crashing, and you see this fucking thing just clipped. And I didn't know it was the Brooklyn Bridge to begin with.
Also
That was
true.
the first thing. You know, like I said, I thought this was out because there was an Arab lady, like with one of her kids, like she saw the shit, and you could see her eyes through her ninja mask, like, oh, it's time to go. She grabbed her kids by the arms and started stepping.
Here's a question for you. So I pulled up an article on CNN. Is CNN news still? No.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell you what it says. 2 people were killed and more than a dozen others were injured after a Mexican Navy training ship struck the bottom of the Brooklyn Bridge, according to New York City Mayor Eric Adams. How is he still in power? The ship called Guatemoc was carrying 277 people when it lost power and struck the bridge. It was on a global goodwill tour and en route to Iceland at the time of the incident Saturday night.
How do you go to Iceland via Brooklyn?
I mean, you can make a straight run of it. It's not advisable, but you can. That is.
You're right. This fucking boat looks like Captain Jack Sparrow should be on that motherfucker. I gotta
100%.
Not showing it with the lights on it. Without the lights, it looks like that fucking that ghost ship.
Yeah. So the ship was moving in the quote wrong. And I'm quoting words that CNN has put quotations around. Okay, the wrong direction. A senior city official with knowledge of the investigation told CNN, pointing in part to the current of the East River. City officials earlier said mechanical issues may have caused the ship to strike the bridge, though the cause of the collision remains under investigation.
Okay, so this is the Independent that I'm reading.
All right.
And it's saying, let's see, the sailing, I ain't even going to try to pronounce that shit, was supposed to leave the city and sail out to sea when it struck the bridge Saturday. The 3 masts snapped. They're saying 2 people died. I heard a lot more people died. There was 277 people aboard. Now it says what happened. The tragic incident unfolded 8:30 p.m. Saturday on New York's East River. The training vessel, which was on a goodwill tour, was supposed to head to sea after stopping in New York to refuel. Still doesn't make sense to me. But instead of sailing south, the ship headed in the wrong direction towards the Brooklyn Bridge. So now you got CNN's report. This is the Independent. Bystanders on the Brooklyn waterfront caught the moment of impact on camera with footage showing crowds fleeing from the water's edge as the ship. Dude, that thing gangstered in like it was parallel parking.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I see. This is the thing.
You know what this is sounding like? Wait, 1 second. You know what this is sounding like? This is sounding a whole lot like that other fucking boat that got smacked up in the fucking canal.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a new reboot of Rush Hour, but yeah, that's fine.
After the first one, I was done.
That's why they're bringing in Mexicans and to spice it up a little bit. That's fine. Yeah, I get it.
That's Yaki Chan.
I mean,
Yaki Chan.
They're saying that it has to be something like this has to be investigated. Which, like, what are we thinking here? Is it someone got shit faced and was like, "Don't worry, I got this," and everyone's like, "He doesn't got this," and then it blew up in everyone's face?
So I got a question.
Right.
How close is this harbor to New Jersey?
Ooh.
Because I'm curious. We got fucking copters hitting planes in Jersey. We got fucking UFOs that we're not talking, nobody talking about no more, or drones, whatever the fuck they were over Jersey. There was talks about a fucking missing a nuke. Which there's like 8 nukes that are just missing around the world that nobody knows where they're at.
Yes, I think it's higher than that, but yeah. New Jersey. I'm just looking at the. I mean, not really. It's 73 miles away. Brooklyn Bridge to New Jersey.
So that's not very far as one of these ships are going.
Is it far for an airplane? No. Is it far for a car? Also, it's an hour away. Is it far for walking? Yes. So,
No, I'm talking about boating.
boating.
Because I'm wondering why. I'm just saying there's a lot of shit going on in that area there, and maybe if it's 100-mile radius, I'm wondering, as compared to where the fucking UFOs are, or where the fuck the planes smack the fucking helicopter, or vice versa.
I mean, looking at this, it's like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes to drive it. Boat, you could, yeah, that shouldn't be long. I just still don't understand how this fucking thing happened. That's, to be honest, like.
They just said they went in the wrong fucking direction. Yo, man, we're the tequila and you're going the wrong way. I said, you're going the wrong way.
I don't. I don't understand how they got into an accident because, like just so people understand, when you boat is the same like when you're driving. If there's a low bridge, you know how people will drive and you'll instinctively tuck your head down because we're all crazy. With a boat, it's worse because you don't. If it breaks off your mast, you're like, oh, we're not only dead, probably we're losing our jobs and might get sued. So this is a bad idea, right? You're extra careful with that kind of stuff. So the idea that this happened by accident, I don't think so.
Says what caused the crash. Investigators into the cause of the crash are ongoing, but preliminary reports indicate the ship suffered some sort of mechanical issue and may have caused it to go in the wrong direction. Maybe somebody shouldn't have taken that last shot of tequila before they pulled out of port.
A senior city official familiar with the investigation tells CNN most crew members of the Mexican sailing ship will depart tonight for a flight back to Mexico. The what is it? Guatemoc sailors are expected to be bussed from the site around 6 p.m. for a flight at 11 p.m. The city will provide a convoy of public buses to escort the crew to John F. Kennedy. A handful of crew members will remain aboard the ship. Officials are also waiting for Mexican Navy authorities to arrive on the site so they can join the investigation.
Them fucking guys are shitting themselves right now. We're not going to Venezuela, man. God damn it.
Which do you think is shitting themselves more? The people who are going back to Mexico or the people who are staying?
Ugh.
Right?
Ugh.
Because if you stay, you're gonna
you're fucking illegal.
temporarily visiting. If you're temporarily visiting in this situation, you're trusted to find out what actually happened, right? But also you may be blamed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get sent back, you may never get home. Like,
yo, man, I'm not getting back on that fucking boat and fuck that plane too.
I mean,
I want my rights like the president Joe Biden say so.
Bing bong. Joe Byron. That's fine. Yeah, it is like. Yeah. Oh, Senator Schumer wants to know if Doge cuts to Coast Guard played a factor in the Brooklyn Bridge collision.
Because the Coast Guard hadn't come.
Bro, Chuck Schumer needs to just go somewhere else, bro.
Yeah.
He is this is the problem when you have look, I'll be honest with you, okay? I have in my life met a lot of people over the age of 75 and 80 years old. I've met like a fraction of a percent of those. One of them being our Victoria's aunt that's staying with us right now, that like walks around and like does stuff all day long. Like other people that are of that age do nothing,
Oh
and
yeah, dude.
they're like,
There's a lady at the shelter, man. Sandy, Lord bless her soul, 75 years old. She moves around better than me, dude. Like
So
she is there, like damn near the time. If she's not there before me, she's there right after me. She's fucking. I mean, she handles the big dogs. She's fucking out there, like,
yeah,
and
but
she's a little
that's
dainty thing too. Like she's like 2 inches shorter than me, little small chick. She was a CEO of some kind of tech company.
so that's someone, right, who like those are the few and far between, right? Most often people don't move like that. So Chuck Schumer, just retire, man. Just you're not helping anyone but yourself at this point.
Oh,
And
him
you're
and that Jerry Nadler, dude. Oh my god, I can't stand Nadler.
like it's such a ridiculous thing where you're like, well, the idea that the president has term limits but other people don't, you're like, get out. The idea that any job doesn't have a term limit, that's a by election basis, you're like, no, that's a popularity contest. None of this makes any sense. Same with tenure at universities. I'm sorry. You need tenure. Why? So you can do whatever you want? Absolutely not. You are always on the chopping block.
So
And
here's something that's apparently news.
apparently,
Um,
all right.
yeah, I guess Honey Boo Boo
Oh,
has a new documentary out,
yeah. And
and
if
from what I remember, like I don't know if this is a Mandela effect or what, but I remember Boo Boo being a little fat, demanding little
yeah,
piece of shit of a kid.
yeah, and she's still that way. She's
Well,
just an adult and fat.
they showed her pictures like she was. They didn't like her pageant pictures weren't. She wasn't chubby at all. Like, I don't know whose pictures they're lying about or maybe whatever, but like I guess she's having a tell-all documentary and she wants people to see her. I was looking up the reason why. Like the headline was, "I want the world to see my boyfriend in the eyes that I see my boyfriend," and I'm thinking, what is she like fucking her 60-year-old uncle or something like that? That's the
Hey,
impression I got from the Honey Boo Boo shit.
yeah, no. She when she was young, she just had a fat face, and now she has a fat everything. That's all. That's yeah. So
That's how
when
much
she
I paid attention to that because now I just now when I read that article just now I figured out who Mama June was that Deadpool was talking about.
yeah, bro, Mama June, you're like, that lady was a problem. Did you ever see the one where she had like a stink foot and like
No, dude,
apparently
that's
she
the
had
one. Like I knew of Honey Boo Boo because there was
yeah,
commercials and shit like that. People talked about her. That was it. I thought she was just some little fat brat who was in.
yeah,
She
that's
brought
accurate.
out she brought out the kiddie porn in Netflix.
Uh,
Remember
um,
when they did that cuties fucking show and then it
so
got taken off?
she was the OG of all that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah. But the weird thing is like her mom uh got a tummy tuck or something and lost a bunch of weight. And she was like, I'm gorgeous now. And I'm like, you look like a train wreck. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But like at one point she had like a stink foot and like it was like her toes were rotting. Yeah, I'm not joking. And she would wrap them up, and you're like, if you looked, you like fleas would just like hang out on her toe. And she's like, oh yeah, I should get that fixed. And you're like,
Did you
you're
say
rotting.
these were hanging out on her
Yeah,
toes?
yeah. I'm not even joking. Bro, if you go
Oh.
here, Mama June, Stinkfoot.
That's great. Oh, so I guess the next big news. Well, first of all, I mean, I think I talked about it maybe a few shows ago, but for some reason, and it can't be real that I get news before everybody else. But talked about Trump's getting his convictions taken away for all those guys out there who keep loving to say the convict, the convict. No, the fuck he's not. All that shit is gone, gone. No felonies, none of that shit. The E. Jean Carroll shit, that's something different. But as far as the felon in the fucking White House, go fuck yourself.
Hey, let's be honest. The felon is doing better than the dementia patient. It's
Yeah.
like
So yeah,
not by much, but enough.
and that's another thing.
Oh.
I ain't gonna wish the big C on anybody, the cunt or the
No.
cancer, but but
That's fair. That's yeah. No, that's I'm with you.
so in that aspect, I feel for old Dirty Joe, but a buddy, a big grape friend of the show's brought up a good point, I guess, something to think about. Mighty funny. Old Dirty Joe done came down with the big C when he's starting to get investigated, and all these pardons are going away.
Mhm. Yeah. Hey, so it's not even that. It came out the same week that the results were out that he was 100% suffering from mental decline during his presidency, and
Wait,
uh,
cover.
it was all covered up. And the idea that people don't understand that, you're like, okay, like
Well,
that's elder abuse by your government with the on the position of he's in charge, and you're like, nope, that's whoever's underneath it. Do you remember oh, which one was it? Well, what was the Adam Sandler one where he was rich and he was supposed to be the long lost son
I know what
of,
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
and then you're like, yeah, it's because bureaucrats are just greedy cunts. They haven't built anything and they're just trying to take the money. And you're
Well,
going, well, perfect example. These people propped this person who was not okay into a position so that they could reap all the money and then go, oh well, he couldn't, and now he's got cancer. Oh well, what are you going to do? Prosecute a guy with cancer? Yes, and all of you deserve it.
well, on one end, Jared has been saying this forever. That it was elder abuse or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, on another hand, uh, you know, that it just kind of proves the point that a lot of, especially libertarians, like to say, we don't need a fucking president. We didn't have one for fucking the last 4 years, and I mean, the country ran shitty, but it fucking ran. Um, and third, above all else, shame on that cunt of a wife of his.
yes.
Because she was the one, there's no doubt about it that her and that son of his, and her and Hunter fucking orchestrated this whole thing. This whole fucking thing. And it was probably Hunter's idea.
Well, this is my point to that. While I don't disagree with you, also too, people who suffer from severe illnesses later on in life, like I had to explain to somebody who's going through dementia and stuff like that, that's not who they're turning into a different person. So even if he was suffering from a mental decline, that doesn't necessarily mean that he wasn't giving orders and they were being followed. It's a question of, was he the person that was elected? Because maybe he was doing weird shit all of a sudden. Right. So it's like there's two sides of this where you're going, oh, his wife and son are pieces of shit. There's no question, because as soon as he started to change and there were problems with his cognitive ability, they should have jumped in, shut it down immediately. Okay. But they didn't. And they abused him. And you're going, and now he's the guy in charge who's not working right, is making decisions that you're going, well, this guy's out to fucking lunch. Right.
Well, even with dementia, the fucker was still a pervert, and his wife ain't no fucking better. I mean, there's plenty of times where they were meeting with Trump, and his wife was all real close and trying to, there was a couple times where the hand damn near reached for the old golden cock. But then just recently, I don't know if we talked about this before or not, but there was some kind of, they were going to meet somewhere. It was Trump, Melania,
Yeah. Yeah.
Biden, and his wife. The wife goes up, gives hugs, does whatever. Biden goes up, gives Melania a hug. Melania turns around. Biden cups her ass.
Yeah, yeah.
Trump
And
fucking tweaks.
Trump goes and stands in between them, and you're
Yeah,
like, yeah, absolutely. There's hey, it's not the place to knock him out, but
it was the place to knock him out.
I mean, I wouldn't have stopped him. I would have just yeah. I'd be like, oh, cool, man. Hey, thanks for grabbing my says. Pop, just boom, you're done.
I mean, because
But
that's one thing that a lot of people. I don't know if he still got it in him. I mean, he still seems pretty mobile, but people don't realize. I mean, as much as they want to talk shit about the WWE or whatever the fuck them wrestlers stay in good shape, and they got to be in good shape to pull off whatever the fuck they're pulling off. And
mm,
Trump was one of them. Trump spent damn near a whole season on the
yeah,
WWE. Not only was he taking it, but he was giving it too. So I mean,
I
and the
mean,
toupee came off.
all I'm saying,
I'll never forget the Stone Cold Stunner when the toupee went up with a whoop.
I remember, bro. There's a picture of Linda McMahon, uh, uh, Papa McMahon, and the whole family, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley's there, and it's all the kids too. And the picture just says that 46% of this picture has been on the receiving end of a Stone Cold Stunner, and you're like, because they're meeting with Trump, and I'm like, bro, that's pretty fucking, that's hard shit. Like, I'm sorry, like it's whether it's fake or not. You're like, that's hardcore shit. You're like, hey, everybody in that picture, 52%. I fucking gave him a stunners. Pow! You know, like, yeah, that's come on.
Oh fuck. This the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier disastrous Red Sea deployment with 3 fighter jets lost finally coming to an end.
Oh, do you remember how they were saying that the oh, did you freeze up? Yeah, damn it. This was one of those things where a little while ago people were saying how a airplane fell off as they were trying to move it and someone got in shit and you're like and it never really we talked about this last week, but we didn't necessarily really get into it was the whole idea that how does that happen? That doesn't it's a boat. It doesn't just roll off. Like there are protections and barriers and things like that in thing. And then someone was like, no, it didn't roll off. It was sold. Somebody sold it and they're passing it off as, oh, it was an accident, fell into the water. And you're like, that's not, no, that never happened. It was 100% just given away or sold by whoever. And that's what happened. Oh, and now I'm by myself. So it's a weird thing where you don't really understand how it's possible, but sure enough, I think our assumption that people are innocent uh, gives us limited. What's the word for it? I think a limited ability to come to the justifiable conclusion, and then also too, I think people are being held accountable that had nothing to do with things. But I think that's one of the weird things that we have to understand, and something we've talked about on this show before is that the difference is that the corruption that happens in the United States and Canada is only limited to a few people that are inside the cool group that are allowed to do it, whereas outside it's just a dollar amount, right? So outside, like so in Europe and in other countries, yeah, if I pay I get to do. That's simple. It doesn't matter who I'm connected to or anything like that. If as long as I can pay, I get the deal, right? But that's what people don't understand is that thinking that in the U.S. there's no corruption. There's tons of corruption. The problem is we're just not permitted to partake, which is, in my opinion, a failure of democracy, but and capitalism technically. I'm just hoping Mark comes back at the half point. That way we can keep on going because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of weird stuff that's been happening over the weekend, and I think we're getting a little. I guess it's getting a little more difficult to be able to differentiate. How to be a good person, really. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's because at the end of the day, and I learned this when I was a financial planner, was like you have to sleep with yourself at night, right? It's not about And if you can follow your own code and your own comfort with how you act and how you treat people, it's worthwhile. Well, hello there, sir. Everything all right?
Jesus Christ, dude! Like even my son came in and was like, "Did you say something wrong?" Like the whole
Welcome back to the NSA Appreciation Hour, where we are on your side. I feel it's the best I can do, Marco.
well, what were we talking about? A boat falling off, or a ship falling off a boat, a plane falling off a fucking boat?
Well, don't worry. I went on to explain how. So, remember a couple weeks we were talking about this, how a plane fell off an aircraft carrier, right?
Right.
And funny enough, after we talked about it, I started seeing stuff on the internet where they're like, "No, it didn't. That didn't happen." And I'm like, "What do you mean it didn't happen?" They're like, "No, no. Somebody got a new airplane. Somebody got some cash, but they didn't fall off a boat." Like, and you're kind of saying, going, "Oh, that's a good point." You're like, "Yeah, planes don't fall off of aircraft carriers. That's not a thing, right? That's
So
you're
it's
all
kind of like some when they fall off the truck. Uh,
basically." Also, too, just so you know, you're blurry and your background is crystal clear. It's very funny. We're hiding Marco's identity, but addressing him by name. His name is actually Steve Calvinson. Doesn't exist. He's not.
yeah, and well, I mean,
But
fuck,
yeah,
that's pretty much all the fucking news, man. I mean, we got experts raise red flags after deadly venomous ants are found to be expanding through the U.S. So no longer have murder hornets. We have
poison ants.
poison ants. Well, what's worse than murder? Genocide ants.
Genocide ants. Yeah, genocidal. I mean, it's a thing. I find it interesting because don't lizards eat ants?
I thought lizards ate all kind of bugs, but
I
I mean,
know. You would think the lizard people would stop the ants from taking over America, but
maybe it's well. There are ant people too. What was it? The Hopi Indians talked about the ant people helping them when they had the great catastrophe.
I don't remember ant people. I do remember mantis people. That's a new one that was on Y Files, which I did enjoy. Um, which apparently they are aliens but look like pre-mantis, and they will fuck with your head really bad. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Thank you. I'm out here fucking with my own brain when I could have mantis people doing it for
Yeah,
me.
I can't remember whether it might have been both, but the Hopi Indians and maybe the ones in Peru talked about the ant people because there's a place in Peru. There's like a city that's built into
Yeah,
the side of a wall, but it goes like miles down, and
yeah.
it's just like it's almost like a giant shopping mall, man. I mean, it's got air vents and shit, and it's got places for cattle and places where they had food and shit like that, and they were
Hey,
actually farming inside there.
there's that. Look, there's that in South America. There's also the one in Turkey that they found, and you're like, oh, we're talking about an entire complex that was defendable, sustainable, had access to water, like all the things, and you're like, yeah, that's wild because as far as we understand it, we cannot live underground, right? That's we need the sun to function. So
Well,
how is it that this was a thing? Because you're like, what? Oh, let's be realistic. Are you going to build an entire functional city underground for the weekends? No, that's where you live. If you're going to build an entire city, right?
there's and I've just seen this. I don't know if it's a new Y files or not, but there's I guess oh, was he Russian? One of the scientists or some shit like that said that there are tunnels that are not under the U.S. Like we already know, because like I was going to tell you that too.
Yeah.
We got cities and shit under the U.S.
Yes.
They're underground complexes for the government and shit. But I mean, there's one in the Ozarks. There's a couple down in Colorado. There's and they're all connected. It's supposedly.
So
But now this other European guy, he says that that's what the UFOs, the aliens that pretty much are no longer aliens because they've been here forever. They occasionally go to the moon, um, You
Are
know,
you
they
saying
don't.
they've been naturalized as citizens because they've been here for so long?
Yeah, pretty much statutes of limitation, and it's international waters. You know, if it's international waters, I mean, you know, you can't really do anything with that shit. But apparently, the way that they travel from wherever in the world is under, like, there's water under the U.S., there's water under Europe and all that shit, and there's certain bases where they come up. The U.S. knows about it, and there's like I guess Hayes Mountain somewhere in the U.S. and there's a couple other places. There's some in Russia, some in China, um, and yeah, I mean, so I I figure we already know. I mean, the cat's out the bag. You know, I don't know why they're trying to hide it. We're on Mars. We know we're on Mars. We know shit's going on. We know we might not, as the common man, be on Mars, but as the world, as the Earth, we've been on Mars. There's shit going on up there, but we
Well,
still have no fucking clue what's going on in our water, and I think that's what we need to be worried about.
well, here's the thing, right? Is that the powers that be conducted two world wars, okay, strapping the entire planet for resources, and then said, you know what? We've already done it, but to pay it off, because we borrowed from imaginary people, to pay it off, now everyone has to pay taxes. Fine. That was in the 20s and then again in the 40s. And we've been paying those taxes more and 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 more throughout history with no end in sight to fund what? Right? This is why there was the lady, the ex Bush staffer, who
Uh-huh.
said $21 trillion has disappeared and it has been used towards building underground cities across everything, right? And we've already heard the rumors of Denver Airport, which I still have never been to.
Yeah,
I do want to go to.
I've never
Uh,
been there either, but supposedly there's a big fucking bunker under the Denver airport.
yes, and the whole idea behind that is that it is more stable underground, and that's why, so that there's less of a likelihood of tectonic issues. But
Well, that's what damn near all the fucking bunkers are underground.
yeah,
Hell, there's ones one of the famous ones that or one of the ones that made Alex Jones famous, besides the Bohemian Grove, was I think the one up in PA.
yeah,
They fucking snuck into. You know, you go through that the underground tunnel, and then there's like kind of a little side thing,
yeah,
and he just kind of skirted his car in there, and I mean, it was just like a whole new, like it was a city
a
underground.
whole new world.
World.
There you go. Yeah, this is the thing, is like, it's not enough that we're not being told, but we're actively being counter informed about where the money is. And this is the frustrating part, is that everyone's going, no, we didn't do anything. And you're going, okay, then where's the money? Oh, I can't talk about it. It's secret. You're going, no, let's just fucking talk about it. No, it's secret. It's for national security. And you're going, okay, so then why is the nation not secure? Just that's the TSA is not solving anything. Okay, you have the border crisis, or the border people who have been hogtied for what, the last 5-6 years, right? Oh, you're frozen again, aren't you?
Yeah,
Damn
I,
it.
I might be back.
Maybe,
Am I back?
maybe a little bit. Yeah, you're good. I think you're good.
Well,
But yeah,
going back to what you were saying about the whole national security thing.
yeah,
Um, remember, you know, Trump had that bill that he was supposed to declassify everything. People are supposed to be allowed to see whatever, no matter
yep.
what we have on the UFOs. Apparently, that bill passed, but behind closed doors, before it passed, it took all the language out of disclosure, all the language out. And it wasn't just the Democrats, it was the Republicans too. It was a uniparty. Took all the language out. So now the way they deem not fucking or redacting shit is national security reasons. Yeah. So we're never gonna get full true disclosure. That's just like Nickelodeon Island. You know, O'Keefe got more on Nickelodeon Island than fucking any of the fucking FBI or any of that shit now.
Like, here's my problem. Why? Why are you guys being such fuckheads? It doesn't like look, there's no win. There's no success that's hidden here that's gonna be everything, you know?
None at all.
And
None at
and
all.
all they're doing is realistically making it so that we just don't trust them anymore. That's the situation that's become, right?
Yep.
But I
Yep.
don't understand why, like, how, like, let's be honest, right? You live 70 to 90 years old if you're lucky, right? And if you're also lucky, you'll be able to be mobile and do stuff at that age. Win-win. That would be a fantastic proposition, okay? But you're not like there's no 170-year-old person. They're like, well, if you eat right and you don't smoke, I'm gonna live to 300. No, you're not. It's not gonna happen.
Because I mean, if you look at some of them monks and shit who do live to be that long, they smoke tobacco. Like they pull leaves off the fucking tree and smell like tar is seeping from their jaws. They drink real coffee and they drink other shit that is not any kind of FDA regulated.
Yeah.
There's one I've seen one fucking village. I think it was it's around Tibet. It's like one of them
Yeah.
off in the fucking where they get this fucking resin. It's like a real high potency weed resin,
Mhm.
and they just there's motherfuckers out there 100 years old, and they just fingers is all nasty with resin, and they're smoking the fuck out of this shit. I
So,
mean,
well, this is the thing: is that clearly, a company like the FDA is very important because there are people out there who put plastic in rice and use the wrong packaging so that they contaminate food. It doesn't keep things safe. You're like, so yeah, there definitely needs to be. However, right? Um, they're the same ones that permitted glyphosate to be used, and you're going, yeah. So you're like, I don't know what side you guys are on, but you're clearly not doing your job, right?
right.
Glyphosate, like, there's no question, glyphosate will fucking kill you, right? That's a 100% real thing, and also, hey, actively at grocery stores, some fruit and vegetables will be sprayed with stuff so it does not seed. You're going, yeah, that is mental. You're spraying stuff so that you can eat it, but it will never actually have the nutrients it needs to grow. Why? Why would you do that? Right? It doesn't. There's too much that doesn't make sense.
All right. So coming up on the end of the show,
Yeah,
we're gonna leave people with these thoughts because this is just fucking great.
I love those.
This is great. So the headline that just popped up on me: Trump threatens to prosecute Beyonce and three other major stars. How much did Kamala Harris pay Bruce Springsteen for his poor performance uh, during her campaign for president? Why did he accept that money if he was such a fan of hers? Isn't that a major and illegal campaign contribution? What about Beyonce? And how much went to Oprah and Bono?
A
I'm going
lot.
to call for a major investigation into this matter.
So I think it's a little inflammatory that he said he mentioned Bruce Springsteen, but also that it was a poor performance. That's not nice. That's like it's bad
No,
enough
no.
that he got
Did you
paid.
see the performance? That was the fucking truth. He put on a shitty performance for as much money as that man got paid. That motherfucker, just like Beyonce. She came out, did a jig, talked for a couple minutes, and got paid millions.
Yeah, yeah. So hold on. How old is Bruce Springsteen? Bruce.
176. He was born in a small town. He met a sister in a small town.
Why? Why?
They got married in a small town.
Bruce Springsteen is 75 years old. Why are you hiring him for anything?
Because he was born in a small town. They needed a white person to break up everything. Then he was the blue collar guy, and then Bono was the posh guy.
How about a music entertainer that isn't also a absolute whore? Can we do that? Is that possible?
And you notice Beyonce wasn't singing, "Oh, you single ladies, oh, you single ladies, oh, you single ladies."
Oh, come on.
Now put your votes up.
Like this is where I don't understand how like how are people still falling for this shit? You're like do you remember that thing where they brought in Beyonce, who was paid what, like 10, 15 million, something crazy? And then in turn, she spoke for 30 seconds and everyone was like, we're getting a Beyonce concert. And then she left.
Just
And
bailed. Yeah.
and
She
then
did
the
a little
people,
stick. She did a little and left.
but the best part is then the people were like, oh, well, fuck this shit. And then just left.
Left.
And you're going,
See, this is where I guess, and I mean, he ain't wrong. It's petty, but he ain't wrong. Candidates aren't allowed to pay for endorsements, which is what Kamala did. And she did, under the guise of paying for entertainment. In addition, it was very expensive and a desperate effort to artificially build up her sparse crowd. It's not legal. For these unpatriotic entertainers, this was just a corrupt and unlawful way to capitalize on a broken system. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So,
well, let's be honest, right? Is the idea of a entertainer being also a gajillionaire is insane, right? Like let's be honest. And the fact that it's been proven that you're like, oh, movie industry, entertainment industry, music industry, all these industries are rife with people doing illegal things and also being celebrated for it, but being a poor influence on people and doing all these things. You're going, okay, so why are we holding up a system that is clearly counterproductive to society, right?
So I guess Springsteen, had his little fucking elderly hissy fit. This is an incredibly useless thing to post late night. Trump is irked at Bruce Springsteen talking about he dislikes him on a tour, so he goes unhinged on an unhinged rant calling for the Justice Department investigation. Why is he talking about himself in the third person? For anyone, especially not anyone who actually needs help, it's to the rich man who's making a shady billion-dollar crypto deals and who just accepted a luxury jumbo jet from Qatar government speak about corrupt and unlawful. And then it just goes on to say, Beyonce got paid $165,000
a minute.
I guess for that one little showing. It says, and Oprah's got $1 million. So it didn't go directly to them; it went to their production companies.
Yeah, that's how they scam the system. That's I forward you a lot of stuff on TikTok. I know you don't go on TikTok very often, but I'll tell you, it is rife with crazy shit that I've sent you, because it goes on to just explain that you're like, oh, so I can't give you money, but I can give money to my nonprofit organization that can in turn give your super PAC tons of money, and it's totally legal. And you're going, yeah, that's a scam.
Because everybody got to have their dick in the box,
right?
All at once.
Look, this is the stupidity, is it, that we have been taking instruction from people who just have money. Oh, what's your expertise? I have money. That's not an expertise. Oh,
well, I mean, I'm not going to take financial advice from a broke motherfucker.
No. But that's the thing is, we're taking advice from people whose only claim to fame is they have money. So think about it this way: if I have money and you have no money, for example, and you say my car broke down, and I say, because I have money but you don't have money, and I say, well, if your car broke down, just buy a new one. That's obviously the solution. Now, While my solution is valid, because if your car broke down, you should get a new car without money. That is not a solution, right? So you have people who have ridiculous amounts of money who are giving life advice and, oh, this is how it should be run, with no actual expertise or understanding of how anything fucking happens. So, like, in all honesty, we've been like, the whole nepo baby is like, oh, we have a bunch of actors who can't act for shit. We have a bunch of people who are ugly as fuck who are like, I'm a star. You're like, you should live in a cave. Why? Oh, well, they're friends of okay. When did we become retarded in
Did
how we
fuck
hire people?
Diddy. Dude, give it what, 20 years? 20 years, we're gonna have all the celebs and entertainment are gonna be somehow, some way connected, like, to Diddy. Just like Genghis Khan when they did them 23 and Me's,
Yeah.
that all
Hey,
of Hollywood's gonna have some kind of Diddy DNA.
you can't be in Hollywood unless you have fetal alcohol syndrome with your eyes on the side of your head anymore. Like, that's just Hollywood is for fish people. Sorry, just get with the game.
Fish people are taking over that, or the lizard people are the hierarchy of lizard people are the chameleons
Yeah,
with the eyes on the side.
yeah. I mean, listen, it doesn't make any sense as to how aggressively we are falling in line for people who have no actual skills or understanding. Like, look, the idea. Remember how they were saying how Beyonce can barely read, and like she needs somebody to explain a menu to her because she's basically retarded. And you're going, okay, good, it's fine. I will continue to listen to her music. Great performer. I'm not going to take political advice for her. Why? Because she can't fucking read. Is that not like? Am I the weirdo who's thinking that?
No, no,
Like,
no.
look, it's the same idea where it's like, oh, I'm a priest. You're 22 and have had zero life experience, let alone any marital experience, and you want to give people advice. Shut your fucking mouth and sit the fuck down. That's what you need. Shut up and sit down. Okay.
I
But
mean,
then you're going, oh, well, I know what you should be doing. Well, you know nothing. Nothing.
kind of like that hot chick with Downs that they keep putting on all the reels with the
Yeah.
fat ass. You can stare at her, you might even hit it, but you don't want her teaching your fucking kids math.
I mean, she's selling a product, it's feeling a service, that's fine. But she's not going to get elected to office. You know why?
Oh, I don't know about that. Look at AOC.
Well, yeah.
AOC destroys every stereotype because she's an idiot. She's a woman. She's a
Yeah.
minority. She came from the hood. She was a bartender, so she's blue collar. I mean, nobody can say anything like that. Broke almost every stereotype, and the idiot's there, and you
Yeah.
see what the fucking got. Put the stereotypes back.
Well, no, it just proves that yeah, stereotypes are right, and whether you like it or not, hey, women shouldn't be allowed in politics. There you go. They shouldn't be allowed to vote either. It's fine. Hey, that's why people keep on arguing that they're like, oh, well, you guys just don't want a woman president. And I'm like, no. Tulsi Gabbard would be awesome.
Yes, yes.
Hey, honestly, I want her to punch somebody in the face on camera. That's what I want.
Dude, to watch her punch she who shall not be named. When she called her a fucking Russian spy, dude. Oh my god! Like I'd have sucked a dick to watch that.
Oh yeah,
I'd have sucked a dick to watch Tulsi crack her. Just one good knocked her because she got a toupee like Trump. She got a. I'm telling you that just knocked a fucking pantsuit right off that ass.
Hey, that's the difference. Is you're like, no, we're not. This isn't about Republican and Democrat. No. This is about us not having leaders anymore. We have middle managers in CEO positions who are going, well, I have an idea. Shut up. Just shut up. You don't get ideas. You're an idiot. You're here to learn. And maybe, you know what you should do? Start in the mailroom. 1 week, every floor until you get to the top floor. And even then, explain what you did. I worked with mail.
Elon tried that, and he got a bunch of fuck shit answers and a bunch of fired people.
Hey, good. That's what you need. That's what you need. Hey, they need to go back on that system and figure it out. Once they do, okay, maybe.
What do we got a quote for tonight's show?
We do actually have a quote for tonight's show. It is you got to learn to drive with the fear, and there ain't nothing more goddamn frightening than driving with a live cougar in the car, which is courtesy
First
of
or last, baby. First or last.
So it is about facing your fear. That is what we're talking about at 8 p.m. tonight on Life
you
is
like
Fun.
spider monkey, old man.
I did pull up a bunch of best Reese Bobby quotes because they're hilarious, and
Dude,
I
I
think they're
fucking
worthwhile.
love that movie. I love that movie.
It was one of the greatest movies ever. Don't get me wrong. So, all right, then we will call it there, sir.
I like my Jesus to wear a tuxedo. I like to party, and I like my Jesus to party. I might have to smoke one and go watch that again, just to prep for the show.
Absolutely, totally reasonable. I am gonna go watch Thunderbolts. So,
yep. All right, guys. A happy Victoria Day, and see you tonight for motherfucking Life of Giants.
Even you got messed up. That's fantastic.
It happened.
Yeah, that's just life.
Be good to each other, guys.
Or not. We're not your parents.
So what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah. So what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah.